What is up, everyone, and welcome back to some more Baldr Sky. In the previous recording session, we wrapped up Rain's route, and, the ending was fine. I still had my issues from what we learned prior to the ending, but it was what it was. It was alright. And then we jumped into Nanoa's route, which has been very interesting. We learned that Nanoa is definitely up to some shady shit. We don't know exactly what she's affiliated with, but we're like pretty sure she's into some shady shit. A new development from the last route, Chinatsu actually came to join us in Arvel City for a moment, and then she and Nanoa got into a huge argument because Nanoa still believes that assembler is something that can be very useful, that could help society rebuild and whatnot, and obviously Chinatsu is very anti-nanomachines and definitely anti-assembler. Nanoa is very defensive of the Drexler Institute and Mr. Kurihara. Chinatsu quite the opposite. So now we're kind of stuck in the situation of whose side do we take? Who do we believe is more right in these situations? Very interesting, very interesting. Right. Okay, I had to look through the backlog to see like what had immediately just happened in the last recording, and that's right. Viruses started appearing in Arvel City, which this shouldn't have been happening. What's going on? And then, so Ko and Rain were like, hey, we'll help out. We'll help take care of these viruses and whatnot. We'll get it taken care of. Don't worry about it. And in doing so, they discovered this massive river of death or something that's called the S, that surrounds the core of the arc and what makes everything around here happen, which was definitely something. And now we're in the immediate aftermath of Arvel City being under attack. Yeah, he's like, we'll leave the rest of them and we'll go back. And then the next evening I make my way back to Arvel City, and of course we run into the lovely Misaki here, and that is where we pick up at. So without further ado, let's just jump back into it, shall we? Find Aki standing about at Seishu.
頭が疲れた。
すごい顔。ひょっとして徹夜かい？
よそからもデータ引っ張ってきて参考にした。
Well, let's take a look around campus. This place looks just as it did back in the day, all thanks to Aki.
ところでこれを見て。
She grabs my hand and forces something into it.
ウイルスのシード、外部から誰かが持ち込んだみたい。
まさか。
Right, that's right. They thought that Chinatsu was the one who brought the viruses and that she was trying to sabotage Arvel City.
考えたくない。
At least that's what the implications were. No one wants to believe that, but that's what the implications were. She leans herself against me, burying her face into my chest.
ごめん、ちょっとこうさせて。
Sadness in her tone is palpable. That takes its toll on me, leading me to wrap my arms around her.
みんなバカ。
Silence follows that. Instead, the subtle quivering of her shoulders tells me everything she's feeling. Sometime later, she raises her head.
どうしたの？
ごめん。職場から呼び出し。
そうなんだ。今晩は帰ってくるの？
My own words make me realize that I almost forgot that this is just cyberspace.
ごめん。学園に時間を取られちゃって。
謝らないで。仕事頑張ってね。
She finally smiles again. Chances are that she's forcing it, yet I can't help but appreciate it.
そうそう。菜の葉に会ってあげて。
Yeah, because things didn't end well with Nanoa either. That's right, because before the big virus attack, Ko finally revealed to Nanoa that he was doing merc work and not whatever he had told Nanoa he was doing prior, that he was working as a mercenary, and she's like, no, you can't be doing that. Why? You lied to me. Yeah, so they had a big argument, big fallout prior to the big attack, so yeah.
そのつもりだけど、菜の葉は一体どこにいるの？
今、コウの後ろ。
後ろって。
Turn around in a panic, and there she is.
よー、菜の葉。
Yo! It's gonna be more awkward if we tried.
ごゆっくり。
Aki makes a swift exit, leaving only the two of us at the Sunset Bathed Academy.
菜の葉。昨日はすまん。実は。
懐か しいよね。
え？
懐かしいね。もう二度と見られないかと思ってたよ。
Her voice is quivering ever so slightly.
そうだな。
The moment I answer, she latches onto my arm.
学園脇の草原も作ったんだな。
あそこは千夏先輩の思い出の場所だから。
そうか。
So that's why they were there yesterday. Now it makes sense.
一生懸命作ったんだよ。二人であれこれ思い出話とかしながら。
Can't bring myself to say anything, so I just pat her head softly.
先輩、私大好きだったのにな。
She casts her eyes to the sunset, gripping my arm as tightly as possible. She suddenly smiles.
なんだいきなり。
見てこう、校庭の池に変なものが咲いてる。
確かにハスの花は咲いてたけど、あんなに大きくなかったよね。
ましてや仏様なんか座ってないし。見て、泳いでる魚にクジラが混
I
じ
love
っ
the
てる。
caustic callback to Aki and her Buddha statues.
え？
Spent so much time working on it, now all this weird stuff is back again. Also, Nano's smile is kind of forced. She's not just laughing at this weird sight.
もうおかしいな。
The look in her eyes is more telling than her smile. It's fading away slowly but surely. She's biting her lip, almost as if to hold it all back. She suddenly grabs my arm.
再現したのは学園だけじゃないんだよ。
他にどこか再現した場所があるのか？
一緒に来てくれ。
I nod. She takes my hand and starts walking.
ここは。
Oh. They totally recreated his hometown, huh? That's interesting. We're standing on a path in a rural area.
南朝霞だよ。懐かしいでしょ。
I stop in place, not saying a
い
word.
ろいろあったよね。
ああ、いろいろありすぎたよな。
That's the path on which Mom and I walked as we held hands. That's the persimmon tree under which Dad gave me a ride on his shoulders. Its fruits were good, too. This is also the place where I lost my mom and my faith in Dad. Both good and bad memories come back to me all at once.
こう、
Nanoa buries her face in my chest.
おい、
ここでした約束。
I cast my mind back to a certain scene from our childhood days.
だったらこう、おじいさんになっても一人ぼっちなんだね。
Yeah, I remember. Made the sort of promise only kids would hear.
私、想像しただけで寂しいよ。
Then again, it might be a bit too cynical of a promise for regular kids.
覚えてるよ。老後の約束をしたんだよな。それからその後は学園で再会する約束を。
覚えててくれたんだ。
She lets out a sigh of relief and
当
smiles.
たり前だ。あの約束は俺の中じゃまだ有効だ。
実は、
She smiles again. There's a hint of shyness to it this time around. Not sure if it's thanks to the sunset or not, but her expression actually makes my heart skip a beat. That serves as a reminder that, despite everything, she's matured as well.
でも、俺、お前、ごめん、なのは。俺、傭兵なんだ。あちこち戦って、世界中いろんなところを今も戦い続けてる。
実はうすうす感づいていたよ。
Her voice begins to waver
だ
again.
けど、気のせいに違いないって。
She clenches her fist, doing everything she can to hold back the
こ
tears.
うが危ないことをしてるなんて考えたくなかったから、こうがいなくなるのを考えたら、それだけで。
That line is the breaking point for her. A single tear runs down her
ご
cheek.
めん、心配かけて。けど、もう破らない。他の約束は守る。安心。
きっと、こうは守ってくれるよね。
She squeezes my arm. The tears are flowing freely at this point. It causes something to burst inside me. I wrap my arms around her and hug her tight.
こう、
俺、結局、空も千夏も守る。
それでもこうは私にとっては正義の味方だよ。
Being hugged by me causes her to finally break down. I don't try to stop it though. I just keep hugging her until she settles down. I'm not even sure how long it takes for that to happen. Feeling slightly embarrassed by the situation, she gives me a shy smile. I try to smile back, but something prevents me from doing so.
注意、至急ログアウトしてください。
なんだ。
鈴代市で不穏な動きがあります。ここ
わかった。
Say bye to Nanaha, then log out. Oh.
注意
ああ、しかしこれは一体。
注意見て
Rain pulls me by the arm the moment I get up from the console. From what I can tell, she's making us take cover on the floor behind it.
一体何の騒ぎだ。
私たちの仲間ではない
Both of us take cover together. Quick look to the entrance tells me that the customers are arguing with the CDF.
なんだよお利口に用なんかねえんだよ
この引きこもりども、邪魔だ。帰れ帰れ帰れ。ほら、大虫工房街へしょっぴくぞ。
国家権力が介入すんなほら
参ったな。
そうですね裏口でも探してました
An angry voice reverberates throughout the cafe all of a sudden.
なんだ貴様、捜査の邪魔をする気か。
何が捜査さこのスケベあたいを棺桶から引っ張り出してお前この匂いでもクンクンしてえのかあ
Oh, Jesus.
誰がお前の腐れマットなど人並みに文句が言いたければたまには風呂ぐらい入ったらどうなんだ。
てめえレディになんてこと言いやがるんだ
And thus, the inevitable fisticuffs begin. Both the officer and the naked lady are throwing wild punches.
とりあえず裏口を探してみましょう
ああ、長いは無用だな。
Saying that, we start to sneak along to the back door. There's a pile of boxes near the door. Someone's hiding behind them. Make eye contact with Rain to confirm my next action, then poke at
おい
them. Oh. Not who I expected. That was a surprisingly high screech before shooting right up and knocking the boxes over. Said figure was none other than Nanaha, who was now looking at us with a very troubled expression.
ナナハさん
どうしてお前。
それは私がここの店員だから
腐れネット中毒者ども、そばの卵で頭を冷やしやがれクズども。
とにかく来て
She grabs our arms and leads us further into the cafe. We finally stop to catch our breath once we reach the black market.
さすがにここまで逃げれば大丈夫だろうな。
ええ誰も追っては来ていないようですね
Nana's gaze is locked on me as she wheezes
で
heavily.
もナナハさん店員ならどうして隠れたりしてそれはいろいろあって
She averts her eyes while answering, making it clear she'd rather not be asked. Well, that just makes me want to ask even more.
まさかお前、手が後ろに回るような仕事をしてないよな。
しないよするわけないじゃないただ私この自治都市に席を置いていないから
The patented refugee issue. A significant amount of people flooded into the surrounding areas after losing their homes during Great Christmas. It's proving to be an issue even today.
どうして隠していたんだ。
ごめんなさい
I can tell how bad she feels about it by her body language and the look in her eyes. Rain quickly swoops in to help her out,
お
though.
父さんに心配をかけたそうですよねはい
She nods her head in
バ
agreement.
カ野郎。黙ってられる方が心配だよ。
それは私だってこうに
She grabs onto my sleeve, sulking a
どう
bit.
か兵隊さんだって聞いて私に心配かけないように黙っ
なのは。
でも黙ってられる子と一緒だねあまり幼馴染に隠し事をするものではありません
Stay out of this, Rain. She gives us both a warm
率
smile.
直に言って私たちは今追われる立場ですコウさん注意は大切な幼馴染のあなたを争いに巻き込みたくないのですよ私も同感です今もあなたを巻き込んでしまうのではないそんな巻き込まれるなんて
She casts her head
そん
down.
な顔をするな。ネットでだって会えるんだし、俺たちもこれ以上無茶をするつもり。
She remains silent, almost like she's thinking of something.
それでは注意
とにかく、これで菜の葉の居場所は分かったんだ。
Pat her on the shoulder and try to take my leave.
待ってだったら今晩だけでもうちに来ない
菜の葉。
分かったから言ってるの大丈夫私の住んでる場所って隠れ家に最適なんだよ
It hurts just to listen to her shout like
オーナ
this.
ーが言ってたここには CDF も来ないってセキュリティも万全だそうだし
I almost clutch at my heart. It's obvious how much she doesn't want to part with me.
こう
God damn it, she's talking about heartstrings. She's always been like this, though. It's probably gotten even worse now that she's living in the slums as a refugee. I'd be lying if I said I was fine with leaving her here. I also know full well how dangerous that train of thought can be, though.
注意。では一晩だけどうせ行くところがありません。少しの間だけナノハさんのそばにいてあげてはどうでしょう。
レインらしくもない干渉的。
干渉だけで言っている警官に対する反応を通してナノハさんの
True.
知りたい部分があるのではないかと思います。
Cast my eyes back to Nano and do a quick search on the net.
CDF の指名で入っ
それでもそばにいてあげた方がこの町で女の子が生きていくのみたい。
She does have a point. Nanoa doesn't have it in her to adapt to life in the slums, as far as I know anyway. I'm still kind of shocked that she'd even address the idea of us needing somewhere to lay low. That just makes me all the more curious about the kind of life she's leading right now.
決断してくださいな。ナノハさんが不安そうにしていますよ。
She's right. The expression on Nanoa's face says it all.
わかった。じゃあ少しだけ世話にな。
じゃあ一緒についてきて。
You almost feel all the life return to her as she darts ahead of us. The place we arrive at ends up defying all my expectations.
お前の家って。
Every inch of it sticks out like a sore thumb. It's really not that much different from the cheap place we were staying at after I lost my memories.
ネットカフェとオーナーが同じなんだよ。住み込みかって条件だったから働くことにしたんだけど。
ならいいけど、お前本当に変な仕事してないよな。
変な仕事。
Define. She pouts a bit, her face slightly flushed.
わかった。その反応からしてありえないよな。
でも女の子らしく飾ってありますよね。ちゃんとお掃除も行き届いていますし。
レイン、フォローはいいが無理がにじみ出ているぞ。
申し訳ありません。
I mean, the effort to make it look a bit nicer with flowers and such is worthy of praise. It's just not very effective, though.
でも確かにここなら個人が住んでいるなら盗撮カメラも盗聴器も仕組まれてはいないだろう。悪い、ボロクソ言って。
それは別にいいよ。ただ一つだけ聞いていい？
なんだ？
レインさん、もしかして
I hesitate for a moment. Is this what they mean by women's intuition? She's on the mark, though. The intuition might have led her to do her own research now that she knows what business I'm in.
そりゃ涼しろしで泊まれる宿なんてミッドスパイアや高級ホテルを除けばみんなこんなような場所なんだし。
Anything to say when you're pouting so hard you look like a balloon.
こういう場所には何泊かしましたが。
Well, she's not lying. The way she said it's made Nanoa turn beet red, though.
私は別にそんなことは何も。ほら、私ここに住んでるわけですし。ナノハさんこそ邪魔になったら言ってくださいね。私は表の空気でも吸っていますから。そんな気の回しすぎですってば。確かにこんな部屋で私は今更。
すまん、レイン。
いえ、これは私のためでもあります。まあ設備は整ってるし居心地は悪くないよ。
Mating. Oh, it's just gonna keep going, huh? All right. Mating calls resound from one of the neighboring rooms.
壁がちょっと薄いけど、それだって音楽でもかければ問題ないし。
She presses a switch on her monitor, leading the news to be projected onto one of the walls. Oh, great, that's not a face you want to see.
その際に起きた暴動はミッドスパイアを巻き込む大規模なものに発展しておる。
That must be about the raid on the nano bootleggers. Didn't realize that things had gone that far, though.
それを受け、本日先ほど当先遣部隊と合流し、鈴代市の失われた治安を取り戻すため、その中核はゴート。ネット関連の戦闘に特化した東
Screen is displaying lots of transport aircraft arriving at the airport.
CDF が市内の治安強化を図ったのは
脈絡に少々不自然さを感じます。
正直 CDF ではこの町の治安維持は難しいのかもな。
Heading back to the NPC dealer and their connections with
ド
Dominion.
ミニオン相手は荷が重いだろうからな。
しかし、ドミニオンの主戦力はネットにありますよ。リアルのゲイダを相手にするのはそう。
BT に IFV、機動歩兵に V トール攻撃機。
The sound of her coughing leads me to notice that she's staring at the both of us. Ah, crap. Me and Rain must have been staring at each other the whole time. That's the thing about the chanting. I can't help but look at whoever I'm speaking to if they're nearby.
もっとロマンチックな番組。
いやいいニュースを見させて。
Turned my attention to the screen again, only to notice some bigwig from Goat on it.
つい先だってもミッドスパイアを巻き込んだ大規模な暴動がありました。このままでは治安は悪化する一方です。治安は回復されなければなりません。悪辣なカルト教団から今こそ都市外周部を奪還し平和な街を取り戻す時が来たのです。
相変わらず勇ましいです。
I almost see the poison leaving her mouth.
いや俺が忘れてるだけかもしれない。
父です。霧島勲少将。現ゴートアジア方面部隊の長官です。
Well, shit.
どうしたんですか？いえ、何か私に。ただ、怖い顔をしてましたから。
She should be saying that in present tense. Bad enough that Nano seems a bit frightened.
聞かないでやってくれ。レインにもいろいろと事情があるんだよ。
ごめんなさい。そうですよね。人には。
Something oddly convincing about the way she says it. It's almost midnight by the time we settle down and have our Soylent Green for
ご
dinner.
めんね。それはナノハさんの責任ではありません。でもどうせならお料理を作ってもてなしてあげたかったのにね。
So that's out of sight while putting away the dirty dishes and cutlery.
お手伝いしましょうか。いえ、大丈夫です。それよりシャワーを先に浴びててください。
It's not like her to turn down help like that.
そうですか。ならばお言葉に甘えさせて。
Saying that, Rain leaves the room looking rather dejected. Take that opportunity to address the
手
situation.
伝ってもらわなくてよかったのか？
おお、レインさんのこと私
ああ、あいつ料理は壊滅的だけど皿洗いぐらいなら。
仮想と違ってリアルのお皿は割られちゃ大変だから。
Which means she broke a whole lot at the dorm then. I feel bad.
すまん。じゃあ俺が手伝う。
いいよ、もう済んじゃったから。
She puts the final dish on the pile and smiles.
そういえば空も台所クラッシャーだ。
そうだったね。
Hint of sadness washes over her smile this time, making things a bit
す
gloomy.
みません。石鹸はありません。あ、今持っていきますから。
Nano scuttles over to the bathroom to hand Rain some soap.
ありがとうございます。
どうしたんなのか？顔が赤いぞ。
Saw how big her fucking titties were, didn't you?
レインさんがしまったのに本当に何もしなかったの？だって
またか。
レインさんすごく綺麗だよ。
そりゃ
The sight of her pristine white skin pops into my head out of nowhere. One I can only enjoy for a few seconds before quickly chasing it off.
そういえば、こう千夏先輩にドキドキしながらもなかなか
ドキドキするたびに手を出してたら今
ソラ先輩もアキ先輩も美人だったし、誠ちゃんも可愛いし、こうっては感覚が麻痺しちゃってるんじゃないの？
なんじゃそりゃ。それを言うなら
You're plenty attractive yourself now, is what I planned on saying. Yet I can't finish the line for some reason.
私だって
お前は変わってないな。見てるとほっとする
You
よ。
fucking coward.
もうどうせ私は成長してないよ。
She puffs her cheeks up and glares at me, but not in a bad way. If anything, it's actually kind of comforting. For whatever reason, just being with her puts me at
と
ease.
にかくもうレインの話はこれっきりだ。あいつとは恋人じゃないし。
もしかして
あのなお前は一生そのネタで俺をからかうつもりか？
違うよね。ね、私分かってるのに本当にごめん。
The room turns gloomy again after things started to go
そ
well.
んな顔するな。別に亡くなった人にミサオを立てているわけじゃないからさ。
けどナノハさん、シャワーありがとうございました。
だってさ、お湯でも浴びてすっきりしてこい。
ごめんね。
She leaves the room, her head still hung down. I make my way back to the room after my turn in the bath, only to find Nano and Rain discussing something seemingly serious.
とりあえずベッドは一つしかありませんか？いけません。レインさんもお客さんなんです。それを言うなら私はかくまってもらってる立場です。
So much for it being serious. Why are they assuming that I'll sleep with either of them, though?
あのさ、
でも
それとも川の字になって寝るか？これだけ広いベッドなんだ。
そんなに女の子
The three-way
に挟まれても
spoon
いいの？
なんでそう？あのな、別
私はどちらでも構う。
She flashes a smile while putting her hair up. Does she mean for that to sound so suggestive?
どちらでもってメイさん、右でも左でも真ん中でも私は構いませんから。
She crawls into bed while saying that.
なんかな。
手な女の子はプッシュして。
Turn my attention back to Nanawa, who's gazing up at me with anticipation. She gives a firm shake of her head and
わかっ
responds.
た。じゃあベッドでやっ。
This time it's a firm nod, even if the situation's made her face as red as an apple. Damn, is this what she was hoping for? Learning that's left me with a cheeky grin, so I make sure to slide into bed quick to hide it from her. And thus, the three of us spoon together.
おやすみ。それでは。
ああ、おやすみ。
Close my eyes to try and sleep, yet my own racing heart prevents me from doing so. Eventually, I feel a certain warmth begin to spread through the bed. Said warmth belongs to both of them. You can feel it despite not touching them thanks to the shower they took beforehand. Their scent permeates the room, even while clothed. Times like this, I almost wish I wasn't a guy. Even worse, I'm not dealing with the realization of how pretty both of them are, but can't escape the sight of them whichever way I look.
おやすみ。
And thus I have to cast my gaze up to the ceiling instead. The class is basically overflowing with students. No, not just students, but also people from outside the school.
よそからもいっぱい人が来ているみたいでね。
そりゃあ、アセンブラはホットな話題だからな。
It's the culture festival at Seishu, where I had Mr. Kurihara's open lecture on Assembler. I'm actually kind of proud that his research is gaining so much attention.
そう。そして招かれざる客も来るわ。
招かれざる客？
Mouse is glaring at a certain part of the room. Fo's gaze and what I see makes me gasp. Fucking Gilbert, I knew it. Gilbert and his gang are standing there like it's nobody's business. He notices us and snorts.
にゃろう。まさか講義の邪魔に来たんじゃない？
Shinatsu almost goes to him, but Aki stops
待
her.
って。今騒いだら。
騒ぎになる前に叩き出してやりたいところだけどな。
どうしたの一体？何かあったの？
ああ、
Before I can finish, the door opens up and Mr. Kurihara walks in.
諸君待たせたな。では早速今日の講義を始めよう。
気にするな。
And so we listen to Mr. Kurihara's lecture. Gilbert's listening so intently it actually freaks me out. We're actually nearing the conclusion without incident.
そもそもアセンブラは火星のテラフォーミングのためにそのだがご存知の通り大規模な宇宙計画は大戦以後全てキャンセルされ、そして一度はアセンブラもその計画が放棄、暴走時の危険性が大きいと判断されたからだ。だが多くの人間の努力の末、ついに我々は数多くの困難と偏見を退け、
This lecture actually sounds more like an enthusiastic speech. Part of it is because he's avoiding the really complicated bits, but otherwise it's all in the fact that Assembler, his ultimate wish, is nearing completion. You can just feel the uncontained emotion in his
我
voice.
々の世代は先祖の借金を払い続けている。環境汚染、排水菌、枯渇した大地。はっきり言えばこの星は壊死しかけている。しかしアセンブラこそはこの星を救う切り札になり得るのだ。そして AI が、脳内チップが、ネット空間がもたらした以上の変革と進歩を必ず人類。
Finishes his speech and the classroom is drowned in
ど
applause.
うやら無事。
Hear a voice from a certain part of the room.
質問があります。
Everyone focuses on Gilbert and a few students shout in anger.
王将のやつが何をしているんだ。お前の名前は知ってるぞ。おや、この講義は学が。
Not intimidated one bit, he looks around with a smug grin plastered on his mug. I had no idea he was this well known. He ruined the mood here with a single breath.
そうだ。ここには誰も何でも疑問を尋ねてくれた。
それではお尋ね。
Then I will. Fucking overdramatic jackass. Still grinning, he walks up to Gilbert.
アセンブラは知性を持つナノマシンと聞いている。
正確な意味での知性かどうかはある程度の類推能力を持った。
細かい話はどうでもいいでしょう。重要なのは AI すら制御できず暴走しているのに。
He arrives at the front of the class and glares at Mr. Kurihara with eyes full of ridicule.
AI は暴走はしていない。それは対話という方法を通して。
He smiles, completely unfazed. This infuriates Gilbert.
そう言っているのはあなた方エイリアニストだけだ。AI もアセンブラも所詮ノインツェーン
His words freeze the air. Professor Nguyen, a scientist renowned for his immense contributions to the fields of AI and nanotechnology, and also the greatest madman of our era, said he secretly conducted human experiments and ultimately fell victim to his own research. These days, his name is almost taboo, especially among us, the AI faction. Hearing it reminds us that the technology we rely on has its roots in the work of a mad scientist. Class is overcome by anger. Many stand up and shout at him. Slaughter grabs Chinatsu's arm, but she shakes it off.
気持ちはわかるけど早まっちゃダメ。そう、それに先生なら大丈夫。むしろ
Aki watches the scene with concerned eyes. Mr. Kurihara looks at Gilbert with sadness in his face. Gilbert, on the other hand, sneers at the students closing in on him. Gilbert's gang brace, and the students stop. Then there's silence. It's tense. Feels like all hell could break loose at any moment even. His calm voice breaks the silence. He sneers, glares at the students, then looks back at Mr. Kurihara. Gilbert and Mr. Kurihara stare at each other. The tension reaches a new peak. Gilbert doesn't even try to hide his malicious grin. Finally showed his true colors. I actually came here just to mess up the lecture. Unable to bear it, a few of the students charge at them. Not a single student is sitting down at this point. It's a huge mess. Mr. Kurihara's words and Gilbert's provocation resound throughout the class. Seishi and Hosho glare at each other. Feels like a fight could break out at any moment. Nada. Then a girl's voice drowns out all the other sounds. Class falls silent. Everyone focuses on the source of the voice. A teary-eyed girl biting her lip. It's Nanoha. Still the center of attention, she walks up to Gilbert. She looks up at Gilbert in frustration. I've never seen her so mad. Nano's a true crybaby and a scaredy cat, and she's actually facing Gilbert head on. He glares at her. The sneer on his face is gone. She grabs his arm. A vein pops out in his forehead and his eyes gleam with ferocity. Nano turns pale and starts shivering, but even so, she holds on to him. There's no time to sit by and watch. Mas and I run to her, but... Gilbert's fist heads straight for Nanoha. Time seems to slow down. I made it right in time. Thank goodness. I'll gladly take 100 hits before I let anyone punch Nanoha. That's actually a lie. Hurt so much can't even open my eyes. Second hit would probably KO me. Nanoha and I are pushed aside. Mr. Kurihara takes our place. Gilbert raises his arm and grabs Mr. Kurihara by his arm. However, before I know it, Mr. Gilbert's arm bends in an unnatural way. Mr. Kurihara is pushing his joint to its limit. Puts even more power into his grip. It's downright relentless. His eyes are so scary, he seems like an entirely different person. I recall that he looked similar during the battle in Anonymous City. The sudden change in the air around him leaves everyone in shock. Gilbert breaks out in a cold sweat.
先生ダメ
The very moment before the joint breaks, Aki clings to Mr. Kurihara.
青木くん
As though coming back to his senses, he lets go of Gilbert's arm.
貴様
今警備の人を呼びました
The moment that voice rings out, Gilbert and his gang are drowned in jeers.
ミュータント帰れ化け物帰れお前らだってノインツェーンの負の遺産だろうが黙れ黙れこの汚らしいエイニアリストめ覚えていろお前らの最後の一人
Gilbert and his gang scramble out of the class, and the students keep jeering.
泣くな菜の葉
As I comfort her, Soda and the others run up to us.
大丈夫
ああこのくらいならお前らに殴られ慣れてるしな
根絶されるのはお前らが先だ汚らわしいミュータント野郎
Still hear the gleeful jeers of my fellow
しか
students.
しなんか違う
I don't like it one bit. Sure, I hate both Gilbert and anti-AI people in general, but this seems wrong in its own way.
どうしてこうなっちゃうんだろう
Soda seems to be thinking the same thing.
あの人たちも私たちも
Her face is full of abject sadness. Thanks to that incident, I'm not up for participating in the festival's nighttime events. Even so, by the time I leave the school, it's already dark out. Stars are shining in the sky.
菜の葉
うん私は尻餅をついただけだから
She nods, clearly in low
こ
spirits.
うこそ
言ったろ殴られ慣れてるってでもお前
ごめんねついカッとしちゃって
いやそれはいいけど
We both fall
な
silent.
あ菜の葉
I try talking to her, but I can't find the right words. I feel like whatever I say will just rub salt into her wounds. We end up walking half of the way home without saying a word.
どうしたな
うんあれ先生じゃない
Follow her gaze and... Yeah, it is. He's standing at the side of the path looking up at the stars. We stop and watch him, but he quickly notices and faces us.
いやあ君たち
こんばんは先生
せっかくの文化祭だというのにさっきは恥ずかしいところを見せてしまったね
He says that with his usual smile, which fills me with relief.
君らには助けられたよ
いえ私たちは何も
Suddenly hits me that if Aki didn't stop him, Mr. Kurihara would have definitely broken Gilbert's arm. Still remember how relentless he was during the encounter in Anonymous City. He's normally gentle and friendly, but get on his bad side and you'll see someone merciless and scary.
先生ひょっとしてそれじゃないんですか
Lana notices the fluid dripping from his sleeve. He's bleeding from the back of his hand.
ああ大丈夫石を投げられただけだ
投げられただけってもしかして宝生の連中の仕業ですか
ああよほど悔しかったのだろう私を待ち伏せ石を投げて
Wow.
逃げていったよ
What a bunch of fucking pussies. A whole gang shows up, they throw a rock and run. That's the best you fuckers got? You gang up on him and all you could do is throw a fucking rock?
くそなんて卑劣な連中なんだ
寮に来てくださいすぐに手当てをしますから
いや大丈夫だ血は止まっているし
もうそうはいきませんよだったら救急箱を取ってきますから
Nano runs off without even giving him a chance to respond.
優しい子だあの子に何事もなくてよかった
He sees her off with a kind look in his
何
eyes.
かあれば若草博士に
先生は菜の葉の両親が亡くなっているのをご存知
あナノフラワーのことを調べてみたんだね聞いたのはナノハ君からかい
はい
ではテロのことも
ええまさかあんないい人たちが殺されるなんて
前も話したと思うが私にとっては恩人であり死である人たちだテロの首謀者は結局捕まらずじまいだったがもし犯人が判明したら
先生
いや失言だったな
Oh, sorry, whoops. That was the inside voice. My bad.
そんなことを望んではいないだろう
He hangs his head and shakes it.
俺も先生とでも確かに菜の葉は優しいやつですからね
そうだな
He falls silent and looks up at the sky
君
again.
はあの星座を知っているかね
牛飼い座でしたっ
そうだそして牛飼い座の牛飼いが誰なのかは2頭のお牛で引く月の発明者と言われまた兄弟により財産を奪われ
それが菜の葉の両親と何か関係しているのですか？
Yeah, why the fuck are we talking about this?
若草博士も故郷を追われた人なのだよ。
His eyes are burning with profound
博
indignation.
士はナノフラワーの研究によってアセンブラの開発に大きな功績を挙げたお方だ。だがそれゆえに迫害され、その後も何度も脅迫を受けている。何度も引っ越したのはそれが理由だったとも聞いている。
そうだったんですか。
だからこそ私はアセンブラの完成を急がねばならない。アセンブラが真の完成を見ればもう
His eyes are gleaming with determination. He's right. Once assembler's complete, people like Gilbert are bound to shut up. Really makes me hope the development goes
あの
well.
子を見ていると妹を思い出す。というより君たちを見ていると
先生には妹や弟さん
いたというべきだな。
That's a strange answer.
私の故郷はね、環境再生地区にあるのどかな農村で、私は
Jesus.
8人家族の次男だ
Family
っ
of
た。
8. God damn.
8人。ずいぶん賑やかだったんでしょうね。
貧乏人の子だくさん。貧しいながらも幸せな家族というやつだ。がその幸せは全盛期の負の遺産により奪われるか昔、何者かが極めつけの有毒物質を密閉容器に収め、長い年月の末、そのコンテナの存在は忘れ去られ、弟も妹も土壌に潜んだ毒物がゆっくりとみんなの体を。まず父が倒れ、母は頑張って私たちを養い看病してくれたが、いきなり倒れてそれっきり。その時には兄弟一人ぼっちになった後、故郷は焼却処分された。
Jesus
今も
Christ.
その地には誰一人として住んでいない。
先生。
すまない。つまらない話をしてしまったな。
The smile is so sad it hurts.
そうだったんですか。
上を見ても下を見てもキリはない。
でも自分が恥ずかしいですよ。俺なんてお袋を亡くしただけでひどいショックだったのに。
悲しいものは悲しい。それを恥じる必要はない。
True. Slaps my shoulder.
幸せは主観的なものだ。人と比較し理性を納得させたとしても。
His consoling words warm my heart. This is the kind of thing I wanted to hear from
だ
Dad.
から先生は。
ああ、そうとも。私はそれに人生のすべてを捧げている。
He looks up at the sky and speaks solemnly. Almost sounds like an oath.
世界には時間が残されている。それ以上に
Ooh, nah, interesting. The world is running out of time, and so am I. Interesting. I look ahead and see Nanoa, followed by the rest of our merry group.
なんだ、夜中に女の子を一人で行かせられないしな。
さあ先生、手を出してください。
ああ、すまないな。
He looks at us with gentle eyes, makes my heart sting a bit. This is probably how he looked at his late siblings.
菜の葉くん、今度よかったら。
いいんですか？
ああ、もちろんだ。とはいえあまり面白い場所でもないかもしれん。
とんでもない。でも本当にいいんですか？迷惑だったりしませんか？
若草博士は恩師であり恩人であり、
Whoa.
何より希望を与えてくれた人だ。
Places his bandaged hand on Nano's head. Okay, I wasn't pressing the button that time, it just went.
その恩を忘れてしまっては私はただの偏屈者になってしまうからね。
ありがとうございます。
Nanoa bows her head. She's actually moved to tears.
よかったね、菜の葉ちゃん。
無論みんなも一緒に来たまえ。
先生、話が決まったところで、今日は私が特製パスタにチャレンジしたんですけど、
そうだな。ではごちそうになるとするか。
そうこなくっちゃ。
Shouts and saw to grab Mr. Kurihara by his arms and drag him.
おいおい君たち。
いいからいいから。
As I watch the pleasant sight, someone pulls on my arm. Oh, what? It's Makoto. What you trying to tell me? Her face is strangely tense. Yeah, no, I don't like it when Makoto's worried. Suddenly, I see something behind her that makes me grimace.
どうしたの？
なんでもない。
行く。
Makoto and I pull Nanoa aside to keep her from seeing what's behind the bushes.
どうし
It's dark, so I didn't see very clearly, but I'm quite sure I saw a bunch of men on the ground, all covered in red. It reminded me of the blood on Mr. Kurihara's fist. Okay. I see. Like, we already knew from, like, the little, display they had with Gilbert there that Mr. Kurihara don't fuck around, but, Mr. Kurihara certainly don't fuck around. Okay. So, yeah, Kurihara there was trying to, like, laugh it off, being like, oh, yeah, they grouped up at me, threw a rock, and ran away. Hey, oh, what a bunch of pussies. That's not what happened. Okay, they grouped up on him, and he fucking gave them as many cans of whoop ass as they fucking needed. Open up a whole fucking 24-pack of can of whoop ass and just fucking dump their bodies in the fucking bushes. That's why, like, when all the students showed up, or like when it was just Nano and Ko that showed up, he's just like, nah, he's like, it's fine. I think I'll just stay out here a bit longer. Don't worry about it. Because he didn't want to attract attention to the fucking bodies. He wanted to, like, better cover that up. But then, like, all the students are showing up, right? All this whole gang of students are showing up. I was like, hey, come back to the dorm with us. He's like, yes, let's get this large group of students out of here. I don't want them to see the large pile of fucking bodies in the bushes. God damn. Like, I kind of figured that Kurihara had, like, a more serious side to him, sure. But, like, I figured it was kind of almost what Gilbert was implying. That's like, oh, you're really strong in cyberspace. You have the balls. But nah, Mr. Kurihara, like, Ko, like, he's reckless and whatnot. Like, he'll jump, like we saw that scene just now with Nanoa. He'll jump in and take a punch, but he's not, like, a combat master or anything. It's not like he fucking, is a hand-to-hand expert. But, like, Kurihara? From what it seems, like, he took on a group of however many dudes, like, it was multiple dudes, and apparently all he had to show for it was some blood on his fist, and that's it. Meanwhile, there's a bunch of blood-covered dudes in some bushes. Like, yeah, nah, Mr. Kurihara don't fuck around, alright? Interesting to know.